And we are back with episode 3 of season 7 of Growing Up Hip Hop. And we open the show with Sam in Egypt. Sam is working on a song, and I have since found out that the little boy on the screen that he's editing is his son, who looks to be about the same age as their relationship. Not saying he cheated on her, just saying he left whoever he was with to be with her. That's the way it looks. Another thing I want to note about the scene before I get all into it is that there's a bed, there's a green room, there's some cameras. What kind of studio is this? Apparently it's in the house. It's down to the dust bowl. It's in the house. Is this where Sam was doing the OnlyFans footage? And what other kind of footage he got going on in there? Like, if the studio's in the house, why isn't he making it to his bedroom after a long night of producing his weak-ass shit? In any event, getting into the discussions they're having, Sam's asking Egypt if she's ready to be on the road, and she says she's ready. And he reminds her that she can't look as good. She really looked cute in this scene, y'all. She can't look as good as she is looking currently when she gets out on the road, because he doesn't want any dudes hollering at her saying, "Hey, I got a job. I'm not an opportunist." Wow. OMG. Like, for real, dog? To me, I'm watching it, I'm like, wow, this is the perfect example of how people will play in your face. Because he's playing in her face, and she's just clueless. She don't even know it. Okay, they have that discussion. Egypt's like, I'm fine, because this is him showing his insecurity about the potential for her seeing and meeting someone who actually has a promising future that's not attached to her mother or her father. He's scared, and then she does the job of any good woman, and she's like, "No, I'm straight." To which he responds, "I know you're straight. That's why I don't want you getting at those male groupies." Mind you, this is his pregnant woman who's been ride or die. So it's even disrespectful for him to joke like that. But she lets him know she's set with her man, and she has her wedding ring on. Okay. They get to talking, and he lets her know she should monetize all of her time and only do the things that she's getting paid for, because when he gets out of prison for these 4 felonies he's up against, he'll be set up and coming home to something real good. Also of note, not only does it seem that Peppa has purchased the home they're living in, but she's also invested in Sam's newest business venture that is, of course, connected to hip hop and OGs and icons. Iconic snow cones. You got to get the fuck out of my face with this, bro. What about doing something that is so totally rooted in your talent that has nothing to do with Egypt, Tretch, or Peppa? Can we get there? She's proud of him because she's always going to say she's proud of him. But I'm seeing what it is. I also note that she's cute. She's glowing. She's holding her stomach when she gets up. I think it's a beautiful thing. And he's like, what you doing all that for? You ain't even big like that. What I noticed was his face when she left the room. He looked like he was done with his performance of being the kind of okay husband. And he just immediately went from her husband to this look on his face. If you pay attention, go back and see it. It was the look of an ain't shit dude, my opinion. We now go back to the studio, because we're in the studio once again. And every time we go to the studio, we have the OG's children. In this event, it is Lil Eazy, messy ass, and JoJo Simmons. Okay. When I originally watched this, because watching this is my second go round, when I originally watched this, I didn't think the song sounded good at all. However, it seemed like Eazy was getting to the bars, and when I heard JoJo's verse, it sounded like JoJo was in his bar bag. I don't know if it's going to work for them for a whole career, but for this legacy song, they might have something there. I'm not running to download it like I have run to download other things, but okay, it's better than I thought it was. They get to talking about what it is they're trying to do with their future. JoJo lets it be known that he's always wanted to have a hip hop career, but his wheelhouse is behind the scenes. Then Lazy Bone walks in. Now, I was watching Jamie That's Me, and she was mentioning that Lazy Bone is not a bad looking dude. And he's not. But I'm a woman of a certain age. Like, Sequoia could be my daughter. So I'm a woman of a certain age, most likely Tiny's age. And the men that I'm dating would be in Lazy Bone's age. There's a look that I see on him that is old player to me. He's not a bad looking dude. I get that. If you hear this, Jamie, he ain't bad looking. But I know what these dudes look like, because I have tried. As an aside, y'all, I was like, yo, I'm only dating men a certain age. I'm dating dudes in their 50s. I'm not in my 50s yet. I'm dating dudes in their 50s. Yo, they are F-boy deluxe. You heard me? They have mastered the art of being a burger. In any event, moving on, he talks about this Legends 50 years in hip-hop, which I stand for because I am a retired MC. I have a hip-hop podcast called Termagant Talk. So this year is a big year for hip-hop. I am all in on it. I am 48 today. No, well, as of January 15th, I'm 48. Hip-hop is only 2 years older than I am. And I have been writing since I was 11. And I fell in love with hip-hop when I was about 4. So it's a big, 50 years of hip-hop is a big thing. He talks about what he wants to do, Naughty by Nature, Bone Thugs and Harmony. And he suggests that maybe JoJo and Lil E could do something for the performance because they're touring. JoJo asks if Sequoia is going to perform. At which point Lazy Bone was like, maybe that's what I could use as an in to mess with her to get her talking to me again. So then JoJo and Messy E have to Lazy and Messy E have to bring JoJo up to speed on what transpired. Essentially what we find out is Lil Eazy thought everybody knew that Sequoia's mom was messing with Lazy, and Lazy thought Sequoia knew. So that to me shows a sign that him and Tiny ain't even talking well, because if they was really talking, she could have told him I haven't spoken to my daughter, and he could have taken a stand like, look, I'm into you. I want to do this the right way. The right way is you talking to your child so that we could get on. I don't want to hide dealing with you. To me, that's the adult thing to do, but I'm a grown ass woman, right? So in any event, we now know that Lazy had no idea that Sequoia didn't know. We are back to the tour bus, Peppa, Egypt, and this scene shows me that Pep and Tretch must have had a discussion behind scenes. There's no real reason why Sam can't be here, except they want to start showing Egypt a world that doesn't include Sam, where she's actually doing something. It's also cool to see Peppa in her professional bag, because honestly, sometimes we see Peppa and she just looks like a ditz. She just seems ridiculously airheaded, to the point whereby Sam was able to swoop in and get this control over her life. Egypt is nervous. Egypt wants to do her vocal training. It's a good look for her, though. She's stepping out. Her mother's supporting her. Her father's supporting her. They got Sam ass at home. I think that's the plan. I think the big plan is to ease Egypt up out the lion's mouth, or the lion ass mouth. That would be Sam. We now go down to the casino where Messy E, also known as Lil Eazy, spent a lot of his time. He's sitting down. He at a table. He's about to gamble. JoJo joins him, and They get to talking about how often he's at the casino. Apparently, Eazy spends a lot of time at the casino. And what I especially love about the scenes with JoJo Simmons is you can tell that he was raised correctly. And you could tell that his father's principles have somewhat rubbed off on him. Because Eazy's basically saying, I'm always at the casino. They know me here by name. And JoJo was kind of like, huh? What do you mean you always here? And Eazy starts this very ambiguous description of the stressors that lead him to leave his home on a regular basis for his casino, which is very interesting to me, because Erick ass is messy. Erick be down there to everybody's business. Erick be knowing everything that goes on with everybody. And he's very ambiguous about what his stressors are. My business, my brand, my children, my wife. I'm not sure that I'm on board for the ambiguity from this very messy, nosy man. JoJo gives like an accountability discussion, like, yo, you should probably be home with your family, like. But it would seem to me that JoJo, one, he loses a lot of money playing. He loses all his money, but hopefully he has some good sense and he went there with enough to spend and go home. But again, I'm not sure that I'm liking the ambiguity surrounding Eazy-E's messy ass. Too ambiguous for me, considering that you be all down there to the people business. JoJo does indicate that the issue with Tanice's dad is weighing heavy on him because he doesn't understand how a father could not embrace the kind of man he's being in his family life. And I gotta agree with him because, again, I'm from the Northeast. I'm from New York. Family from Jersey, JoJo be on his dad bit. He's a dad, he's a husband. He's serious about it. So it's interesting to me that her father, who looks like F-Boy Deluxe, mastered the art of being a burger as well. It's interesting to me that he doesn't embrace JoJo. So we get to see Sequoia's home, which looks really, really cute. And she is looking through her memories. And her dad calls. So she's having a discussion with her dad, who looks terrible, by the way. And, she's saying, I don't like the way my relationship is with my mom. I don't like how she's moving. She's different. And her father's like, well, it hurts me. And I could tell that JoJo used to write some of the songs because he got all poetic. It's like walking down a long, windy road and the sun is setting. Whatever, sir. You messed up your relationship and your woman left. The issue for me is not that the woman left. Is not that Tiny decided to choose her first. It's that Tiny decided to choose herself and she did not communicate her next steps with her child. I am a mother. I don't play those games when it comes to my son. My son won't find out about me from others. But, we've already had that discussion. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I think Sequoia is torn because she loves her father. She knows he's sick. She knows her mom is acting odd. She's not 100% on board with them getting a divorce, but, she knows it's not her decision. I've seen online where she's like, I want both of my parents to be happy. She does want them to be happy, but she doesn't understand why her mom is acting so odd. In any event, they have the discussion. She says she doesn't like it. And then we go back to Peppa and Egypt on tour. They're in Orlando. Egypt's about to do her first sound check ever. And I think that's ridiculous because Egypt should have had a plethora of sound checks at this stage in her career. She is daughter of Peppa. She is the daughter of Tretch. They have been touring. I don't understand why she hasn't had this opportunity. And she does doubt herself because she feels like she sounds terrible. Baby girl, one, you probably shouldn't be singing. Two, Sam is not a great producer or songwriter. These songs are rubbish. This is my second time hearing it. Don't like it. It's rubbish. At the end of her sound check, the track has a gun, the cocking back of a weapon. And in Nevada, we can't have that. We can't have that on the Salt and Pepper tour. We can't have that anywhere because gun violence is a real thing and it's a hot topic. So Peppa's like, oh, that gotta come out. They call Sam. The first thing Sam lets them know is, I knew y'all were gonna need me. Is it that you knew they were gonna need you, or is it that you made sure they were going to need you by sending this track that you knew could not be used? Huh? Right. And then he has the audacity to say, tell mom if she's going to question me, she's gonna have to pay me. Are you doubting my skills, mom? First, and then Peppa backs down. I bet you wouldn't be talking to me like that when I done invested in the ice truck, invested in how you live, invested all the money, because I do not think your OnlyFans was given like that, sir. You ain't gonna talk to me like that. But it's telling that they allow that. Eventually, Sam sends the right track and they get it together. But that was not a well-played move, Sam. You trying to get there to the tour and they don't need you. They need you to be as absent as I hope the penitentiary makes you. Because you're disgusting. So Eazy got some badass kids, but his kids are beautiful. The daughter he picked up from school looks exactly like Aaliyah. He does have a beautiful family, but them kids bad. He telling the kids, yo, I got a business call. They don't care he got a business call. They have not learned to prioritize the bag, or the bag that their parents are chasing. And then when Eazy gets home, Aaliyah's like, yo, you know, the house looks like a house with as many kids as they have in it. The children are beautiful. They got a little chocolate drop that was on the couch. She's gorgeous. Like, they have beautiful children, but the kids bad. They house looked like the kids bad. Not that it was a mess. It's just that the things were thrown all over the place. So for me, the kids bad. The daughter, who looks like Aaliyah, has a birthday party, and Aaliyah's like, so you could take her. Eazy's like, that ain't my problem, which is an indicator to me that he treats her like a woman who gotta handle all the stuff in the house while he's outside gambling and doing whatever. Okay, some people have their house set up like that, but she's clearly not happy because the rule of him being outside the house is answer your phone, and he ain't even trying to do that, talking about y'all in the house. You in bed, everybody in bed. What if somebody ran down on your home and your wife was calling you to let you know what was up? You need to be more responsible than that, Eazy. In any event, he pays her dust. Yo, help your mom cook. Aaliyah was like, I'm gonna make some spaghetti. And the kids was like, nah, we eating too much spaghetti up in here. Cook something else. It's a mess down to the house. Wow. We go back to Egypt's performance in Orlando, and the performance in Orlando, it went off well. What I will say is, I'm not a fan of the song. I'm not a fan of Egypt's singing voice, but Egypt is clearly the daughter of two MCs. She could spit. Now she just needs the right words coming out her mouth. I'm not sure that was the case. But she did it, and a few things take me aback. I'm not quite sure why she thinks that this is her only opportunity, or like she almost couldn't get it. There is no point in time where she showed maturity where her parents wouldn't have pulled through and been like, yo, this is a songwriter, this is a producer. They were waiting for her to mature. What happened while they were waiting for her to mature was Sam stepped in and acted like he was the icon putting her on. She finally thanked her mom for getting her the opportunity. And she was like, you see that I'm ready? And Pep says, I've been knowing you was ready. So what it seems to me is that Sam has rocked this young lady's confidence. And to me, that's really, it's sad. It's pretty sad. I don't like that for her, but I love that she did the show. She was by herself. She proved herself to herself, and there's more in the future. I would just hope that she's spitting in the future instead of singing. So Sequoia and her mom finally sit down for an adult discussion. However, to have an adult discussion, someone has to be grown. I've watched a lot of reality TV, and I am a woman who had a mother who was very involved in my life. When a person, especially on these reality TV shows, when you put an adult in front of their parent, you immediately see that adult start to act like a child in front of their parents. So all of the people who are saying that Sequoia is wrong and Sequoia is being immature, yeah, when you're in the presence of your parents, you're not in your most mature form, especially when there's a disagreement. Her mom is still playing games, though, because she didn't say, I'm seeing lazy. She says, I am fond of him. And it hasn't been a year. It's been 2 years. So you've been lying to me, ducking my calls for 2 years. That's affecting my business for sure. And you're doing this with a man who was in my music video, who was mentoring me. I don't want you to move like this. And if it were me, you would tell me you didn't want me to move like this either. And the key thing that Tiny says to Sequoia is like, you acting like you 12. You acting like you don't have a child. Well, one, in saying you're acting like you're 12, now you're going to come to this discussion and you're going to dress me down when you are the one in the wrong. You have to hold yourself accountable. All of this could have been avoided with some clear adult communication. And yes, difficult discussions are not the ones that we want to have, but they are the necessary discussions to have because you don't end up in these areas. So she insults her by calling her a 12-year-old. And then she's like, you have a kid, to which Sequoia says the thing that is necessary to be heard. I would never move with my child like this. My son's 26. I speak to my son. We have difficult discussions if necessary, but we have the discussions because I don't ever want it to be said that I was so scared of talking to my son. And sometimes, look, y'all, I'm gonna be honest, I'm lying to y'all. One time I lost the remote, and my son has this way of being mad judgmental. So I put the remote, I downloaded the TV remote app, and then I ain't let him know and when he found out, he was like, well, how did that happen? The remote works for one TV. He's very judgmental. So it'll be little stuff like that. But I'll let him know, I ain't want to tell you because you wild judgmental. But it's a discussion we have. So, and that's light work. This discussion goes left really quick. There's something I think Tiny is not picking up on. If your daughter was around this man and he was her mentor, I'm sure that if he either tried to holler or made flirty advances. I've been there. Again, I was an MC. I was in the studio. Dudes make advances on you just because you're a woman in the studio. It's like being in jail because you're the only feminine energy there. So they go and do it anyway. So that could be uncomfortable if it did indeed happen. So that could be uncomfortable. Another thing is she could see when his co-parent, actually his wife, come down to the studio. She could see the engagement between him and his wife, and she could know that it's not as finished as he's telling you it is. And she could just see some of the things he's been doing. So when she says, I don't want my mom dating a rapper, she knows what she's talking about. Now, to Tiny's point, girl, you don't know nothing. Another point where she tried to dress her down, which I don't think was favorable. But she has a point, because your dad was a whole R&B singer, and look at how he treated me, right? This conversation went left really quick, and it ended with Tiny telling Sequoia, you gonna need me before I need you. Oh, so what you're going to do is weaponize your maternal role. You're gonna weaponize it. So if, as a child, I need you, because you dealing with some dude and I telling you how I feel about it, you gonna tell me I'm gonna need you more than you gonna need me? That's how the world works, but you'd be surprised if I don't need you, right? Like, that's messed up. Don't weaponize your motherhood. Don't weaponize your motherhood. Because that can lead to abandonment. Tiny is whack as fuck for the way she's handled this, in my opinion. Sequoia is following her mother's lead, so it may not be the most mature position she's been in. She's not taking the most mature approach. However, Tiny on some bullshit. That's all that's transpired. We'll see where this goes, but I'm not, like, I wouldn't, my son is a grown man, and I have adult conversation with him outside of that little remote issue. Tiny whack for this.